Hello artists. The official intro will be starting soon, but I did want to show you the finished project. Isn't that cool? Today we are talking about acrylic paint. Yes, section 5 acrylic paint. Please be sure to hit that like and subscribe and comment button, guys. It would be totally awesome. And if you want to learn how to do this project, just watch the video. It's actually pretty fun and pretty easy. And it's all about acrylic paint. It just wants to be your neighbor. It's actually the helpful neighbor. It truly is. Hello, artists. How are you today? Stephanie Aune coming to you from the banks of the Trinity River here in Six Rivers National Forest near Willow Creek, California. Welcome to the studio. I'm so glad you're here with me today. Today we are still on chapter 1, but we are talking about section 5. Acrylic paint. Yes, he's your friendly neighbor. Why in the world is this one $2, this one's $4, and this one is what? $9? Oh my gosh, why? There are so many different choices. And just to let you know real quick, we use acrylic paint over oil paints in mixed media. At least I do. You can use whatever you want to, but oil paint takes forever to dry, sometimes up to a week to dry. It doesn't always work so well with its neighbors, right? With all the other mediums that we like to use in mixed media. And also oil paint, you have to use turpentines and mineral spirits. So it's just not as friendly as a paint. And acrylic paint, yes, he's your friendly neighbor. So let's go through and talk real quick about the differences in acrylic paint. Okay, where do we want to start? Let's start with craft paint, right? There are generally a full aisle dedicated to craft paint. And why? Because it makes them money, okay? So they come in all different colors. You can get, so many different shades of green. You can get all these beautiful, gorgeous colors. And they're only $2 a bottle or 99 cents a bottle. And you're getting 2 fluid ounces that cannot be watered down or extended. It's already as liquid as it's going to be. If you water it down much more than this, you're not going to be able to use it as a paint. Okay, so when you have a student grade, that's $4 for 4 ounces. Well, number one, that's the same cost. Okay. With this, though, you can add a little bit of water to it and extend it. It's still not going to hold up, if you add a ton of water to it. But, you're going to need a couple coats with this versus if you want to make something completely opaque, which is not see-through, right? You're going to need a lot of coats of this, whereas you're going to need fewer coats of this. So you use less paint for the same cost. All right, so that's why when you go over into the artist aisle, there are a lot of different choices when you get there. So let's talk about student level paint. Okay, so it's going to be academic level 1, Liquitech Basics over Liquitech Professional. All right, and then we're going to have the master's touch, but it's going to be around $4. Okay, so when you have something that's this size of bottle that's between $4 to $6, generally that's going to be a student grade paint. They have their uses. They are more pigmented than craft paint. It's generally a better value for the money. It truly is. And it will go further than these because you can add water to it. That's kind of cool. And you get better coverage. So think about that next time that you're in the paint aisle. Watch for these to go on sale. They will go 50% off or 30% off. Okay. Student grade. It's a good choice. Okay. So when we're talking about professional grade paints, there are a couple different types of paint within that. I mean, all of these have so many different levels and, it's really hard to give you an overview in this short amount of time. But with professional grade paints, you have things that are called fluid acrylics. And fluid acrylics come in a bottle. They have pure pigment and less binding agents. So it's more fluid. And you use that more like in an airbrush, or you can use it with mediums and get some really gorgeous, intense colors. Right? There's open acrylics, and open acrylics, professional grade, have a longer drying time so that you can work with it longer without the product drying out. For me, I like to use professional grade heavy body paints for the times when I want really good coverage. So it'll take 1 or 2 coats of this versus 3 or 4 coats of this versus 10 coats of this to get the same amount of coverage. Okay, so even though it seems like it's more expensive, you use less paint. You can also add water to this. This already has water in it. This already has water. Or if it's not water, it's some sort of, agent that makes it more fluid. These are thicker, more fluid, viscous. It's more viscous. Anyways, back to the point. So even within professional heavy body paints, there is a large discrepancy in cost, right? Yellow oxide can cost $8 to $9, somewhere in there, whereas a quinacridone magenta is going to be more expensive. Why is that? Well, this mineral that makes yellow oxide is a lot more common, right? There's a lot more dirt out there that has that color. What the hell was that, Oz? And then the quinacridone magenta is a much less common mineral. So that also makes a difference. And there was also, he's totally thrown me off. You also have the difference between like a cobalt blue hue and cobalt blue. Hue is not a pure pigment. Okay, cadmium yellow light hue versus cadmium yellow light, that's okay, because cad yellow light hue has less cadmium in it, and cadmium is actually toxic. So those are all just things to remember and to think about. Okay, I've got to go deal with my dog, and we'll chat soon. Bye. Okay. Just so you know, the pages that we're working on, we have 2 pages glued together, which I think I'll actually probably glue these to those to make it a little bit stiffer. And then this is 2 pages glued together with the ephemera as the base. So I'm just working on that next page. And what I've done here is I've just taken some of this Student Lake Blue. This is Master's Touch. I don't think that there's a whole lot of difference. I haven't really found the difference between paint brands. I'm sure there are differences. It just depends on what you personally like to use. There's not a better or a worse, as far as I'm concerned. Okay, so some of these have not been opened yet, but this color looks fun, and so we are going to pull it on here. Oh my gosh. Yeah, and that's a very yellowy green. So, just kind of realize that when you mix it, you're going to have some interesting colors. This is giving us a thick layer. And the cool thing is it works really nicely on top of that gessoed surface. So, the priming has made a lot of difference with this. Of course, otherwise the paint would be soaking in instead of sitting on top. And, just putting some basic color down. I don't really know what I'm making yet, but we're going to play with some stencils and some fun things like that. So. We're going to kind of go off of a sunflower theme, but we're going to kind of push what we've got going here. And since I had kind of this abstract beginning, let's do some, this is going to be crazy. Yes, I know, I can't finish sentences. Let's pull in, there's not much paint in there. Well, here, let's just grab this bronze. Grabbing in the sponge, I'm just putting some paint right on there. Now remember, I don't really want to water that down too much because It's already pretty liquid, so you don't need to water that down at all. Okay, I'm just putting it over this red here. Why am I doing that? Well, because look how interesting. Oh, see, now that's a pretty liquid color. We can fix it. We can fix it. Don't worry. So I probably should have done this more than done what I did. I'm going to put another stripe of these in here because I love this element that it gives. I do. We're just looking to get some texture back here. Quick drop in of metallic texture. Okay, and then we're going to come in with a bit of this guy. With a little bit of our yellow. This is Yellow Deep, Master's Touch. Now, I have already a little bit of that brown in here. So I'm not looking to have Oz, I know, dude. Now, see how that is a very transparent color, right? So we don't want it to be that transparent. I don't want it to be that transparent. So I want to bring in, this white is not open. This white is open. This is a heavy body titanium. I use titanium mainly because it is the most opaque white. So I've heard. Use which ones you want to use. Use what makes you happy. That's a very thick color. Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. And then let's bring in some of this cad yellow light. Come on, buddy. That's really super thick, so just tap it out, right? Now I've got the fan on high, so it's going to dry very fast. So, now that's kind of mushy there, so let's just pull it off. You know, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm just playing with color right now. I'm just deciding to kind of blend that out there. And now let's bring in some more shapes. I don't know what I'm making. I have a kind of a vague idea of what I'm making, which you know that now, right? I'm gonna bring in some of this bright, bright color. Okay. Let's grab some swirly swirls. Now I know I use this one all the time, but I love what it does. So that's why I use it. So let's bring in this kind of turquoise. And pull in some down here. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful, gorgeous, stunning. And one other color I want to bring in here is some white. I know what'll work. Let's bring in a smaller scale and bring in the red was a great color. It's really intense though, and I don't want it to come too far forward. The more intense a color is, the more it will come in front of everything else. So we don't really want a hyper intense color let's kind of mute it down with this copper, which is essentially a burnt sienna with some glitter to it. Okay, we want to kind of do something right along this edge in there. Just some little drops of color. That's all I was looking for to break that up. And then, since that's a little smushy right there, let's see what we can do about that. Hi, kid. Okay. I like where that is at. I have noticed that my page is splitting out. Right there. Now, I was cutting part of a page open earlier, and it must have just cut that. So I will fix that from the reverse side. Dang it. Well, I might as well show you how to fix it now. I'm going to bring in just a piece of cotton fabric. You can use whatever you have. Muslin works great. I've had this just sitting here, so it was the first thing I grabbed. Something that's as wide as the seam so that you can add that in. And actually that purple is going to be really pretty with those. So I like it. I will move forward with adding this piece of fabric in. Okay, so coming in to do this quick repair with this book. Now, it is standard that you are going to have to repair your book as you go along. Plan for it. Don't be surprised when it happens. Now, again, I accidentally cut that, but that could have happened just by the book splitting out. So I'm just reinforcing this, putting it right down into that seam, getting it right in there, trying to get it straight. That would be good. Do you have to get it straight? No, do whatever you want to. It's your book. If you want it crooked, make it crooked. I'm not going to tell you that it's okay. Do it however you want to do it. You know, it's your work ethic. It's your book. You know, it took me 2 seconds to reposition it and make it straight, and I guarantee you I will be much happier if it is straight in there. But that's the type of integrity that I have, and that's the type of craftsmanship that I want to have. So it's important. Craftsmanship is important. Anybody who tells you craftsmanship isn't important is basically lazy. All right, I want to use some sunflowers. Some sunflowers. Now this is actually pretty reminiscent of that shape. Of course, that's more my sun shape. I don't really have a stencil, but you know, we're gonna play. We're gonna play and see if we can figure out a quick, easy way to make some sunflowers. All right, so I was looking at this and I'm not a huge fan of doing these things, but I could make this sunflower a little bit larger, and if I did that, I could use this as a really nice, handy outline, right? So here's some black gesso, and this is a bit scary, not gonna lie. I don't usually use this type of element, but truthfully, it's about the right size and shape. And I'm just doing it because it's easier to kind of stamp that shape on here. Yeah, I like that. All right. So now that's gonna have to dry. Of course, drying. So this is 1.5 to 1 is gonna be right about to there. See? So that's where our petals are gonna go. And these petals, guys, are super simple. And they just are layered up on each other. So let's not be scared of them. Okay, so there's our first layer. Now let's look here. Sunflowers generally have 2 or 3 layers of petals that kind of stack up upon each other. So if you look at this guy, you can see that this one here is stacked above this one here. All right. So let's bring in secondary petals, the underneath ones. And anywhere that needs it now, we just kind of fill in with a little extra V shape in there. These kind of have more of, you know, the rounded, some are V, some are rounded, so vary them. You know, just look at the shapes and see what fits. So we're going to go up. And it does not have to be exact. Do not stress yourself out trying to make something an exact replica, right? This is the essence of, this is the feeling of, this is not supposed to be perfect because this is a little bit wide that I just drew out, but I will be painting on the inside, right? Now look at that shape. It's not that hard. It's actually a very simple shape. So don't freak yourself out by thinking it's too complex of an item for you to draw. So I have a very limited palette out here. Yellow deep. This is cadmium yellow light. This is titanium white, and this is cerulean blue. I am just going to paint these most bottom one. That is too big of a paintbrush. These mostest bottomest back leaves with this bluish color. What it should do, too much water in that right there. There we go. It's a really nice consistency right there. Very creamy, luscious paint. Luscious. We're trying to just paint the very background first. Wow, that was tough. That was scary tough. Let's put a little bit of that blue right in here too. Why would you put blue when it's a brown background? Well, because blue is a nice cool color. Brown is a warm color, so this is going to give us interest and contrast and yumminess. We're saving our brightest bright for the most upfront, most wanting to be seen piece. And This is really pretty color here too. I'm doing some impressionistic sunflowers. Pretty simple. What I'm going to do is actually pull this yellow through here. Give this leaf some highlight background color. Make the highlight go towards our sunlight here. Like it. Okay, so now for the big guy. Now this is going to have, these are going to be, so it'll be the brightest color and the most intense color because we want it to come the most forward. We do not want it to be transparent. It does not have to be perfect. We'll go back over with that white. Okay, the only color I didn't want in there was that blue. Other than that, I can pull this orange to make a really nice, strong, intense, gorgeous color. Look at that beautiful color. Now I'm using this brush to my advantage. It's very helpful to have the right brush for the job. And add variety in your paint. That's good. And then here, sideways. Flat and sideways. Don't take it all the way up to the very edge. We want to have that depth, that transition color. In case you heard weird sounds, that's what it is. Keeping the puppy happy. Guys, as Oz is chomping away in the corner. Oh my God. Oh, a fly. Okay. I always love it when I see a bug out of the corner of my eye. It's like, oh God, what now? So I'm just doodling here. Just adding in some lines, and I went around here very coolly, and then I'm going to go around all of these guys. And then I'll come in and I'll go around with my white. Now, these pens don't necessarily love to go over the paint. Try to keep a light hand while you're doing it. All right. Don't forget these little guys. They are part of your composition. All right, and then we're going to go through here and make some squigglies. Just some random squiggles. Love that. All right, so let's see about our white pen, what we can do here. Ooh. Hi, kid. Ta-da! So you can make your own. You don't always need to use somebody else's image, right? It was a super simple painting. Truly, it was. It didn't take much at all. 3 colors for the petals. Ta-da! I think it's done. All right, there you go. Paint. It's an amazing thing. And it wants to be your neighbor. What? What? What are you telling me? What's your issue? Huh? What is your issue? Huh? It's raining out. We just went outside and went potty. So I know you're just bored. What? What do you need? What do you need? Oh, hello. What do you need? Well, I don't know what that is. You have a tree that you're working on. You have something on your nose. Come here. Come here. Slow down. There we go. Oh, hello. Hello, handsome.